We're here again in the Garden Tropical Nomad, episode 479 of Speak Up Monday. Now tonight, as always, as you know, entrepreneurship and social impact. Tonight is really powerful because what we have is a young man doing phenomenal things here in Bali. And how do you, because right now there's a lot of talk about, you know, Bali culture, tradition, where is it going? And tonight is a beautiful opportunity to have this different view from a different perspective, a Balinese perspective of, well, how can we move forward into the future, embracing tradition, embracing culture, but also keeping an eye on the future whilst remaining in the past. Right? So I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So let me introduce you. So Gede Putra Witsen,
yes,
co-founder of D.E.S.A, and we're going to go about what D.E.S.A means in a moment. Yes. So let's have a few words about you, my friend. Okay, so this episode dives into how D.E.S.A, which stands for Developing Empowered Societies Through Action, empowers communities, engages local and international youth, and provides authentic, meaningful experiences rooted in culture, nature, and social impact. Now, three of the powerful takeaways for tonight is why preserving Bali's culture through circular development is key to sustainable tourism, how hands-on youth engagement builds global cultural awareness, and what it really means to turn traditional wisdom into modern business. Now, a little bit about you, my friend. A passionate social entrepreneur, Gede is a thought leader in community empowerment and circular development. And through D.E.S.A, he connects tourism, culture, and youth engagement to regenerate Bali from the ground up. And he regularly speaks and leads immersive programs on Balinese culture, sustainability, and empowering future change makers. So now I think this episode tonight is really good for students and parents, for travel agents and tour organizers, for schools and educational institutions, and cultural preservationists and social entrepreneurs. So, and of course you can connect with D.E.S.A and Gede at Instagram, D.E.S.A, that's D.E.S.A for the world. And I'm your host, Robert Ian Bonnick, named number one, Bali Changemaker and Nuana Social Fund, growth strategist, the founder of Speak Up Monday, Destination Indonesia, international advisor with 1,000+ guests across 479 episodes now, 10,000 live attendees. And look, we're here, you know, to talk about entrepreneurship and social impact. But let's get on with tonight's show. So firstly, you know, if there was someone who was maybe looking from overseas right now, is tuning into tonight's show and says, okay, there's a fellow here, he looks like he's Balinese, there's a fellow here who looks like he's probably not Balinese, you know, how would you describe yourself, you know, to someone who maybe is not familiar with Bali? So how would you describe yourself?
Yes. Wow. Swastiastu. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. That was amazing. But yeah, I mean, first thing I would say is I'm Balinese. I mean, Bali is already a magnet in a way. Bali is already a magnet in a way. Wow. Okay, great. Yeah, Bali is already a magnet in a way. So the first thing I say is I'm Balinese, and I try to really to enhance that. Like, even though when I'm in Europe speaking at conferences or even at university when I was there, I was always wearing this. This is called udang in Bali, right? So yeah.
So then, okay, so now for me personally, you know, I'm aware the Balinese is one of the only living cultures left in the world, right? So if I go to a foreign country, I won't name a country, I don't want to devalue any other country here, but quite often if I go, I'm greeted maybe in ceremonial attire, but then straight after that, it's like the people who are there greeting me are going back to their day job. So the clothing comes off and they they get back into work mode. So what makes Balinese culture, because you've traveled, right? So what makes Balinese culture for you? If I talk about a living culture, how would you describe that to somebody else?
Okay. For me, when I talk about Bali and they say, because sometimes they say, oh, what's your religion? Or when you are in Bali, or let's say, because I'm from Indonesia, what's your religion? And I'm like, Bali goes for Hinduism. But at the same time, when they think of Hinduism, they think of India, right? So this is what makes Bali authentic and unique in a way, because it's a way of life here. Like there's almost no culture and religion. There is almost no different. It's like in one harmony. So yeah, when I see in that perspectives as a living culture, one of the last living cultures in the world, as you said, the Balinese really embrace it because it's just a way of life in a way. Yeah.
And just a little bit more on this, because I think it's important that people understand, the pool they're about to step in or dive into. So living culture, it's interchangeable. Life is culture, culture is life. There's no separation, right? Okay, so you've mentioned about some people call it Hinduism. They think it comes from India. So if you could maybe just explain a little bit about what are the roots of Balinese philosophy? What do Balinese believe, especially when it comes to reincarnation? Because I think that aspect of it kind of connects the dots for people.
Yes, so the Balinese people and the Balinese culture is very connected to nature. So even before Hinduism, let's say, many people say that the Balinese used to be following something called Agama Tirta, or the Tirta religion. Tirta in Balinese means water. So the religion of water, basically. So yeah, I mean, this I think shows the connection of nature. And that's why in Bali, there's even a theory called, people probably know this, Tri Hitakarana. Tri Hitakarana, three meaning three. Hitakarana basically in the more simplified version is the principle of living in harmony in life, right? Harmony with nature, harmony with human to human, and harmony with spirituality or God, let's say. So it's really natural based in Bali, and that makes us, I think, very unique. And yeah, I think this nature is a really key part, more than incarnation or more than the name of the symbols of gods and things like that. It's really nature, the respect to nature and living in harmony with nature.
One thing or one way which I often describe it to foreigners, the way I understood it, if you compare it, or if you could, obviously it's for the person, it's for everything. So a lot of Westerners understand the work philosophy, the work. So from that perspective, maybe a way to look at it would be to say, okay, if I have an initiative, a project, a business, how does that initiative, project, or business impact human to God?
Yes.
Culture, customs, tradition, religion. How does it impact that? How does it serve that? How does it take that into consideration in the operations of that business? And then sliding down over here to human to the environment, regenerative systems, policies, and practices. So how does that business, project, initiative impact that environmental aspect? And then the final part of human to human prosperity, then how does your business initiative, how does it impact that human to human prosperity? How does it generate, how does it deploy it throughout the community? And I know you wanted to add to that.
Yes, I would add one more to that, which is not only taking consideration, but how do you add value? That's key, especially what we're working here with D.E.S.A and our sponsors, Garden of Life. How to add value, all right? So yeah, we're jumping into D.E.S.A straight away because of that. But basically, when we work in, for example, entering a village in Bali, we see the strength of that village and the authenticity of that village. We're trying to develop holistically. That's why D.E.S.A is a circular development initiative, right? So we see the strength. Instead of reinventing the wheel, we see what's already happening there. All right. For example, one of our villages is called Sibatan. Sibatan is in East Bali, and they are the center of snake fruit farming, one of the biggest in Indonesia. So yes, so turns out if you add value from the fruit, then it becomes a product that the farmers can add value to, and it makes them can preserve the farming. Their farming is still organic, using pig cages, so the waste of the pig turns into fertilizer and things like that. So this needs to be preserved. How to preserve that is add value, right? When you add value to something, especially something in an environment or in the culture, you automatically also takes consideration the impact you're creating for that culture or for that nature around you. So yeah, I would add that. But yeah, thank you. That was amazing.
Oh, brother, thank you. And one of the things, just again to paint the picture for those watching from overseas, and this is the last part of this part. So what would you say, are some of the challenges which in a world that's modernizing, that's AIzing, if that's even a term, right? AIzing, right? It's amazing what comes through not from,
okay.
Right? So in a world that's modernizing, there are certain challenges, maybe real estate and so on, that's impacting Bali. So maybe if we take a little bit of a moment, because D.E.S.A is obviously answering these things. So let's describe the challenge or the problem first.
Yes.
So what's the landscape of the challenges which Bali's culture, villages, farmers are facing, for which D.E.S.A is a solution?
Yes. The challenge I see in Bali is rapid development and rapid globalization, while the culture or the mindset of the local people are not keeping up. I think if that makes sense. But let me give some context a bit. For example, even the waste problem, for example, right? Very simple. Plastic to Indonesia probably came in the 60s, in the 70s, that are very more common. But thousands of years of local knowledge is you eat something out of a wrapper, which is leaf, or oftentimes it's a natural material. You throw it out, it becomes compost straight away. But this mindset did not change when plastic came, for example, right? So yeah, I mean, it's these type of things that's a big challenge here in Bali. Also, one of the thing is also, for example, rapid development and not ready to compete with other businesses. Locals are often sidelined in the business world, because I mean it's not the whatever, not the foreigners or the locals' fault. It's just they're not ready, right? Because development happens so fast. So now, when D.E.S.A is working in the rural areas, is the rural areas are still pristine and are still authentic. In the south of Bali, it's already developing and things like that, and which is fine. But in the rural areas, there is a chance for a holistic development, right? And also this solves also maybe even what is it called, overpopulation in cities or urbanization, because we're creating value and we're creating opportunities holistically in the rural areas. So young people can create opportunities in the rural areas and don't have to go or completely rely to go into the cities, for example. So yeah, I mean, the base of that is rapid globalization and rapid development, but the society is not ready. Yeah.
One of the things which inspires me about you, right? Now, I don't know your age. I don't need to know, right? But part of the work which I do is with Jatalui, for example. And there, it's a problem with the next generation, or the challenge is the farmers are getting older, 60, 70 and so on, and the young ones coming up don't necessarily want to be farmers. And that leads to a bunch of different challenges that are faced. One of the groups which are called this is from Udayana University. They're Astung Karaway is the name of the company, right? Astung Karaway.
Yeah.
And so what they're doing is that they're re-empowering, reinvigorating the soil and nature to find new ways to maximize the income from farmlands, which then helps the younger generation say, well, if I can earn the same amount of money farming as I can getting a job in the city, in tourism or whatever, then do I need to actually leave and take that job? Because there are other reasons for doing that. But as a young person, what inspires you? Because again, I'm inspired by you, right? But what inspires you on a day-to-day basis to kind of get up? Because again, what we're feeling here is a guy who's full of it, meaning you're full of beans, you're full of life, full of energy, and you can see that D.E.S.A, that we're going to get into soon, that's your driving force. That's a way for you to to express yourself.
Yes.
So what inspires you on a day-to-day basis? Why do you do what you do?
Yeah. What inspires me most is I think the love of my island of Bali. I think that's very touching to me, and I grew up also in a very, let's say, progressive family, but at the same time holding cultural values, right? So yeah, I think this really helped. This really like pushed me into the person that I am today, and loving the Balinese culture very deeply. And of course, I've traveled also. I spent many years in Europe also, and seeing the challenges there as well, especially with rural areas. So, for example, in Italy, I think this is one of the waking points. Actually, one of the waking points why I wanted to really do this work to empower rural areas is, for example, in rural Italy or rural Portugal, they have these $1 apartments that they're selling to everybody, right? That's a initiative in order to make young people or people to go into the rural areas again and to build rural areas again. And the government does these initiatives of $1 housing or $1 and then give incentives to people. When I looked at that, I was like, I don't want this to happen to Bali, because Bali, again, it's one of the living cultures that still exist in the world. And imagine if that happened in Bali with continuous globalization and continuous development, and then suddenly, we have to do those things in order to bring people back to the village. Yeah? It's very rare a young person going back to the village. I'm one of the very few that goes back to the village, right? So yeah, I think that's really like what motivates me to really work on this.
Love it, brother. So let's explain again.
Yeah.
So what is D.E.S.A? What does it stand for? And give us an example, a bit of a case study, if you like, on what it's actually doing and why that's important.
Yes. So yeah, D.E.S.A in Indonesian, it means village. So if you enter a new village, there's always D.E.S.A D.E.S.A Jatilui or D.E.S.A. So D.E.S.A means village. But we have created an acronym. So D is develop, E is empower, S is sustain, and A is act. So this is the acronym of D.E.S.A. And the goal is to empower communities, empower rural areas, and empower youth. That's the main goal. And how we do that is we look at value creation. That's because it's a monetary economy, right? So how do we create value to what is an advantage or a competitive advantage to a village, for example. So not only through tourism or regenerative tourism, where we create different tour programs in order to showcase the real Bali, you could say, or the authentic Bali, but we also work with farmers in order to create value creation. For example, one of the reasons is why young people don't go back to the farmer, let's call it like that, is because the economic benefits is very low. But if you create let's say an upscale, for example, with salak or snake fruit, the fruit itself as a raw material is very cheap. You cannot live off that. But when we work with farmers, suddenly it turns out that the skin of the snake fruit can be turned into tea. The fruit of the snake fruit can be turned into candy. The seeds of the snake fruit can be turned into coffee, a decaf coffee. It tastes exactly like coffee as well. It is actually amazing. It's one of the most best-selling now for our new project. So this is what I mean by holistic, right? We're not only pushing to tourism. Tourism is important because Bali runs on tourism. But how can we also diversify economic sectors like production, for example? And then we also work with charities in the villages as well. So, for example, in Sibetan, there is a charity, BSVLC. They are teaching English for the youth. So how can we incorporate this in the business model? 13% of what we make goes into charity. The charities that are doing great work in the villages, for example. So yeah, this holistic development is how we work at D.E.S.A. And and yeah, at the same time we are creating business opportunities for others in the rural areas.
What's the biggest challenges you face in sharing this? It's a fantastic message.
Yeah.
And you mentioned before about, not keeping up with the pace of the world outside, right? So what kind of challenges have you encountered in bringing this to villages, and how have you overcome those challenges?
Yeah. So I think one of the key challenges is some villages want things in an instant. So when there is this instant mindset, things get done, but not in the right strategy or not in the right moment, for example. So oftentimes, in Indonesia, they have this system actually called BUMDes. For example, BUMDes is a government initiative to empower villages, basically through finding what potential businesses are to do in the villages. But oftentimes they are thinking of bringing the soft to the rural areas instead of using the strength of the rural areas in order to create a valuable business, for example. So at the end of the day, it turns into unsustainable development oftentimes, right? So yeah, I think that's the challenge, because changing that mindset of like, hey, we're trying. When a villager is making coconut oil, people want to see that. People want to experience that. And oftentimes people don't realize that. Yeah. So what really touched me was when we work with when we create experiential learning programs with universities and so on. So for example, we had a French university coming to Bali to do our programs. We would invite local universities. So we invited Polytechnic University here based in Bali. And they join the programs with us because the goal is to inspire, right? So they see like, hey, when the guests or when a foreigner is making some coconut oil, there is value to that. And one student came to me and went, oh, in my village, my grandpa does this, My grandpa has been doing this. I would never know, like, wow, people would like that. It's so authentic, basically. And that, if we can inspire, let's say, out of 200, 100 students, local students even, coming into joining our programs, 2 people are making similar things in their villages, it would be a success. This is what we want. This is where we want to go towards. So yeah, the challenge is that. The challenge is not, they don't realize that they are stepping in a gold mine, basically, right? They don't realize that they're stepping on a gold mine, and it's not being. I can't find a better word to say exploit, but exploit is not a good word. But to take advantage of it for monetary reasons or for preserving the culture. Yeah.
So then, when you look at people like me, right? So my wife is Indonesian, my kids are half this, But at the end of the day, I feel that I'm a guest here, right? I come with good intention, tri palasuda, good intention, good action, good thoughts, good deeds, right? Wow. But the thing is, though, is that sometimes there's a disconnect. So you've had the great wisdom, fortune, experience to live outside of Indonesia to experience what that looks like. And again, as you mentioned, so well, like most countries in the world, they struggle with rubbish. A lot of countries in the world struggle with infrastructure. So right now in Sydney, for example, Sydney, there are thousands and thousands of homes short. Right, so people that are working within Sydney, there's a housing shortage right now. So people have to commute from further and further out, which has its own sense of challenges and problems that they're facing. So it happens to modern cities as well as non-modern cities, let's say. So the question is then, when you look at people like us that are different, that are coming here maybe on holiday, or they're living here, or they're really setting up roots here, where do you see the disconnect and where do you see the opportunity?
Yeah, so first of all, the disconnect, I think it's the trend that's happening in the outside of Bali right now is Bali is a perfect spot for cheap apartments, cheap food, and take advantage of it. I think that's at first the disconnect, because if you come to Bali with that mindset, then that's your mindset. Basically, yeah, you try to live as you know, as low as possible, and then, you know, take advantage of this great economy in order to, you know, to pursue and things like this, to pursue whatever what you want to pursue, which is not wrong at all. It's fine, but again, I think it's up to the Balinese and up to us, even the expats here that care about Bali, because they want to see Bali flourish more than just economic development. I think it's up to us to raise awareness, to build our communities, and to support businesses that are doing for authentic Bali. I think that's where there's an opportunity in that as well, which is what I just mentioned, the awareness of things, and working with the Balinese to really see the local perspective as well, and then always have it back in your mind that no matter that, even though you are a guest, you can still support and empowerment, but do it just consciously. I think there's an opportunity there, but again, yeah, the disconnect is that mindset. People already come in and be like, "This is a cheap place to live," without knowing anything.
Got it, my brother. And this is another question: is there a disconnect internally? So we're here in Bali. We have a local government. Again, this is not about politics today, right? But we have a government, we have a political system, and so on and so on and so on. So is there, you said yes, but how would you describe that disconnect, and what would you like to see?
Yeah, so I think there is a disconnect between theory and practice in Bali. I mean, Bali, we have all these great philosophies: Trihita Karana, Ruwa Bideda, how to be harmonizing with your life, how to live in balance, and things like this, which is great. And these are what my ancestors has created in order to create a society living in harmony with nature, because we rely on nature a lot. And there is this disconnect at the moment internally in Bali that people want to get rich fast, to develop fast. Everything is in an instant, forgetting about what we are raised to be. Balinese is raised to be respectful to nature. When you throw garbage, that's not Trihita Karana, for example. So there is a disconnect with that. It takes some time for to raise awareness, I think, on that. But yeah, again, I mean, development happens so fast, and people just, you know, it's normal. People want to catch up also, and catching up to development also means a linear development, right? What not only Bali, but a lot of the world is facing linear development, not a circular or the sustainable development. So yeah, I think there is a disconnect there, but that's why when at D.E.S.A we say also like harmonizing the old knowledge and the new, basically, because Bali has already the foundations, but how can we just really explore that and really take advantage of that and create value out of that? Yeah,
man. Who's inspired by this man? Yeah.
Thank you.
Mamma mia. All right, so questions from the audience will come in about next 2 or 3 minutes, but I'm just double checking to see if we have anything else to cover here. How hands-on youth engagement builds global cultural awareness.
Yeah. Which one is that?
Over here. How hands-on youth engagement builds global and cultural awareness.
Yeah, I mean, hands-on means experiential, and that means you are touching it, you are feeling it, you are engaged with it, you are immersed with it. So yeah, this, once you are experience it, you are much aware of it in anything, not only in cultural awareness, right? Even in sports, you know, you're not gonna be able to play football until you really be on the field and you play. I'm a footballer. I love football, by the way.
I could kind of tell.
Yes, no. yeah, but yeah, it's the same thing here. You know, that's why we want to really engage youth. I think also. There's this Australian guy that played with Steve Irwin, I think his name. He's with the crocodiles. Crocs. Yeah, he's like he also said like he wants to engage and create this sense of closeness with nature and animals, because when people love it, and people enjoy it, people are more tend to preserve it. People are tend to respect it, and so on like that. This is the same thing what we're trying to do, especially in the youth, because the youth is the next generation, right? I'm also the youth, so yeah, we want that for Bali, especially.
Brother, what it really means to turn traditional wisdom into modern business.
It means a lot of work. No, yeah, it is. I mean, it means to really be open to engaging with things that you don't know. To listen to your elders, basically, also, because there is a lot of wisdom there, and then also to seek advantage and opportunities from all that wisdom and connect it to whatever business you want to create. I think exactly that's what it means, especially in the Balinese context. I think that in order to preserve Bali and not stop development is to harmonize it, and there is lots of opportunities to do so. Other businesses are doing it also. Asungkara Way, by the way, is our partners also. Garden of Life is our sponsor. We're very thankful of that. They are harmonizing not only wisdom of heritage or nature, but also blockchain and crypto technology. You know, when you plant a tree, you also have NFTs, and then you are connected to the blockchain system, and then you can see your tree wherever you are in the world because you can enter the metaverse, for example. So yeah, we're working also with those partners. So that's why D.E.S.A is not only a local project, but we are a global project. Like we're local based, but we want the impact to be global. So and yeah, harmonizing old ways of knowledge is, I think, very important. Yeah.
Global, was it?
Global, yeah.
Global. All right, questions. We've got a microphone here, Brother Guzman. So just raise your hand. Yeah, over here. So Brother Guz, yes. Just over here, my brother. Yeah, in front. And great timing, brother.
Okay, it's going to be a bit long-winded, but bear with me. So you identified the major problem as Balinese people kind of like running behind the speed of development that's surrounding them. You also said that people come here because it's a cheap destination. I would argue that a lot of people come here for transformation. And a lot of the things that you've been speaking about is the transformation of food into something that actually brings more money. So there is this added value that you create by transforming products, and also the added value that you create by transforming people. Now, the issue with transformation is that it has to go from through growth, through challenging, through being critical, through being disobedient, through the process of deconstructing something that has to do with tradition, yes, and rebuilding something that is new, that actually meets the needs of the future and solves the problem of the present.
Yes.
So how do you do that? Because from my observations of having lived here for nearly 7 years now, what I can see is that the heritage in Bali is very much one of obedience. It has very little to do with understanding why we do what we do. Yes. The majority of the women that are creating all the offerings have zero idea why they need to design that offering in one way and then another offering in another way for a different ceremony. Everyone just obeys what they have been told to do. So in an environment where the critical spirit is not developed, it's actually really not promoted, how can you develop entrepreneurship? Because for me, it is not about the speed that you cannot harness. It is about the education system and its approach that's completely and utterly against entrepreneurship, but very much about subordination and just obedience. So if you could change something in the education system, what is it that you would do? And what would you focus on? Keeping in mind that obviously I am an elder, so I am the first one to say that elders carry wisdom that can be of high use to younger people. So how do you balance this in a Balinese context?
Yeah. I myself is still learning also, but I do really share what you have just shared. This culture of obedience, which also creates lack of innovation, lack of critical thinking, and so on like that. I can admit to you that my mindset is a very different mindset when it comes to most Balinese. When it comes to that, because I'm just very fortunate that having lived abroad and also really. But at the same time, that I wouldn't say obedience, but that culture is also what makes Bali Bali, right? So it is a tough. It's a tough harmonization effort when it comes to this. So that's why I always push on how can we create value, because people I think are prone to preserve what they want to do in order to create value. But then when it comes to the education system, this is a tough topic, because all I can tell you is the more people that we can inspire to do similar work like what D.E.S.A is doing. And as I said, when students come and we engage those schools also to our programs in an effort to create more innovative thinking, in an effort to create more critical thinking. And as I said before, if let's say a few people decided they are inspired and they want to do similar things, this is a great success, right? So there's not one magic formula, and education system can just be like that. It takes, and also because of that disobedience culture, I cannot just go to an elder and be like, hey, you're doing things wrong. You should do this. No, but so through action is what I'm hoping to really make change, right? And inspiring others. If that a little bit answers your question, if you want to follow up so we can have a conversation, that would be nice.
Yeah, I used to lecture in responsible tourism, and I used to consult for the UN and travel the world. Yeah. And my area of expertise is immersive experience crafting. So I align with you. But the one thing that I have found, because I used to travel to many destinations, developing destinations, where I talk to people, and as you rightly highlight, it is a matter of understanding the value, not necessarily creating the value, but understanding the value of your own heritage. Yes. I come from a culture where we are incredibly proud of our heritage. Yes, we suck. Tourism. We are the number one destination in the world. Why? Because we know. No. Wonderful gentleman. I lecture in freaking tourism. I know what I'm talking about. It is France. But there is an understanding of the value that your heritage brings to you. So it's not about obedience, but it is the understanding of the value that it brings to you as a person, which then enables you to harness that heritage and understand what value you can add to the life of tourists. And what I'm seeing here is that is missing, that bridge between that pride to want to preserve. Because when you have a pride to preserve, then you are much better equipped to fight all the different challenges that come with foreigners, that come with capitalism, that come with people who come here for the wrong reason.
Yes, yeah, that's completely correct.
And all right, so we'll pass the mic on over there. Just before we go there, thank you, Carol, as usual. Always inspiring points of view and everything else. So this is just a personal observation that I've noticed. So we've done now 479 of these, right, of these episodes. So I've spoken to a lot of people over the years, and there's a few people that come out. One is a lady called Rikal Ardani. Now, none of you would probably remember, but I do, right? Because I remember stuff like that. So she was the first person about 3 years ago. She sat, when we're inside here, she said, Rob, she told me two sentences, 2 lines. She says, Rob, when the rich scream, wealth whispers. That hit me. I was like, ugh. And then she said, Rob, Indonesia is a wealthy country. Now, you had around about G20 time. So I'm just picking moments now. The most powerful minister, Minister Luhut, who said publicly, don't quote me on this, please, but basically, made the point that Indonesia is open to foreigners, investment, and so on, but don't take us for fools.
Yeah.
He is very clear. So when I look at that, I look at people like Anta Igede Rahman, who I met years ago, who was just summoned, one of the only 2 Indonesians summoned to America to compliment on what they have achieved globally. Right? And I can pick out lots more different people here. And so just to the point that Carol made, and it's a great point, the view which I hold with that one is maybe slightly different, is that what I see is that for change to occur, it takes place in areas that you're not always looking.
Yes.
You know? And it's difficult sometimes because we, in some ways, are pushed a certain agenda. Yeah. And that agenda we feel is that he or she or they who speak loudest, that's the truth, but it's not actually the case. So there's an equal and opposite reaction of equal magnitude in the opposite direction, but it's quite often we don't know what that is. I have had the luck and good fortune of interviewing some incredible people, Indonesian and foreigner alike, that have shown me, one person, Lucien Anha, her father is, I think, the second most richest investor in Indonesian art. So he's basically gone around the world and brought back Indonesian art, repatriated from all over the world back to Indonesia. There's one other one which I can't remember the name, and he apparently is number 1, which has gone even further. And his kids, right, who are going to be on the show eventually, these guys inspired the hell out, like you, the hell out of me. They are creating museums in Indonesia as we speak, using AI and other progressive mediums to tell the story of Indonesia. Right? So again, but you wouldn't know about these things because they're not pushed. I know about them because I have lots of conversations and I speak to lots of people and I get introduced into rooms where I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? But then I'm glad I'm there. So I love the point that you made because it's valid. Obviously, everyone has a valid opinion here, but that's just something which I've noticed.
Yes. Yeah. And creating an understanding takes action. That's why we act, and we really when we work in the villages, we invite foreigners, we invite locals, they join the program, and then they are aware. And once you're aware, there's a better chance you understand the value, right? So the action part is very, very important, and we try to do that, hopefully.
Thank you, brother.
Yes.
All right. Hi, Gede. Robert, thank you for giving me the word. So basically, you're actually doing what I intend to do with my business. I created an international tourism investment company in order to create, I call it bone and blood businesses. That means people that live here have a career. So you create something where there's an attraction for families and not for parties, not for alcohol, not for traffic issues, but something where people learn about what is a specialty, what helps me heal, what helps me to have a wonderful time with my family and just, not having those drunken idiots driving around. I'm interested in working together with you and finding opportunities. As she already said, there's a problem with education and with problems in tourism or in garbage everywhere in the world. So it's not specifically Indonesia. But the point is on how to change that is by creating role models.
Yes.
And what you do here right now is the exact correct thing. I would even suggest you should become a mentor for Indonesian kids that want to become entrepreneur one day, or even local people that are having a company where you can guide them in the right direction. I would be very willing and helpful to open a door for you.
Thank you. Mantap, sukses, Pak. Thanks. You're wearing batik also, so
of course, I love it, man.
I see your love already.
Hallelujah.
For Bali, Indonesia. Thank you. Dankeschön.
You're welcome.
Yeah. No, but Thank you. I would like to invite you to Sibetan, to one of our villages. Yes.
Thank you. I'd love to
And let's
come.
explore the opportunities. And in terms of mentorship, yes, I am one of the mentors for people that want to enter entrepreneurship in Polytechnic and also at Green School. So we're starting that as well. You're exactly right. Role models are very important. That's why I'm very glad I'm with Robert here for doing this. Thank you so much. And Matuk Sumo, I invite you to Sibetan, please.
Thank you. And I would like to invite you to something as well. We'll talk later.
You know, the interesting part, if any more questions, feel free to raise your hand. The interesting about Chiara, right? She said to me earlier on, you know, how do people come? And I said to you, if you remember, I said, it's like your birthday party, right?
Yeah.
It's an intimate crowd tonight, and that's cool. But it's always the right people that show up. That's it. So, you know, you might worry in the beginning who to invite. Then the next thing you worry about is will they come? And then when they're there, you worry about are they having a good time? And then after the event, you're like, what was I worried about? So I don't know anything of what's going to happen. I didn't know that he was going to say that. I know his heart, right? And he's got a great heart. But again, the point is that you just focus on what it is that you know that you need to do, on whatever that is, and we all know what it is we need to do, and by just doing that one thing, for me, it's about bringing people together. No matter if it's very large numbers, you know, done events, 2,500 plus events, 1 million plus people in person. That's what I've done over the last years, right? But it doesn't matter whether it's 20 people, 50 people, 100 people, 10,000 people. It's just about the quality and the synergy and the resonance, right? Those things you get, the rest, it happens by itself. Yeah. So brother Guzman Davide, who is not going to say I am Italian, right? Every week he does, and he will do it again, would like the mic.
Thank you, Roberto. I would like to make the point that Rome is the number one in the world for tourist attraction. It's not Paris. We need to be clear. And there is no Google search that would confirm what I'm saying. But anyway, okay, Mr. Gede Putra, it's a pleasure to see you here. As Carsten has told you, I think he made a very good point. I'm really glad that there are people like you in Bali, and thank you, Roberto, for spotting this, what I would say, leader who does the right thing, okay? And this gives me hope. And to add on what Carsten was saying, I would say from my own experience, I appreciate more Italy when I was out of Italy than when I was in Italy. So I know there are a lot of Italians who left Italy and gained great experience abroad.
Yes.
A lot of them made a lot of money and miss Italy. So perhaps to go one step further, what Carsten was saying is, why not do a search on who is Balinese who lives abroad, and perhaps see what is their background, and maybe those are some of the very first people that you can give them the opportunity to do what you're doing. And then maybe when they are coming back here, they also have more skills to pass on. And there are thousands of life coaches who have systems in place where they do something called train the trainer. And they have like such good schemes. And maybe you can copy and use the blueprint. There are many, many coaches here that can tell you, hey, do it this way. And you save so much time. Just want to share that idea with you. Thank you.
Buonissima, grazie.
Grazie,
That was amazing.
Brother Guzman, just take the mic. All right, so look, as we, come towards the tail end of this, there's a couple of things which I want to add to you. So one is maybe just have a think. Now, I know Ronnie, Garden of Life, shout out to you. Thank you for introducing us, right? Yeah. So for those of you, let me go with this first. So if there are any points that maybe coming here you wanted to say, right? I'll give you a couple of minutes to think about what that might be, right? So then you can make sure that you make the most of the time here, right? And it can be reiterating something. It can be a reach out for support or contribution. Perhaps there are people here that may be in person or watching, online, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube live that may say, you know what, I love what he's about. I love what he's doing. I love the idea of D.E.S.A. How can I support? How can I contribute? What can I do? So maybe that would be a great one for you to kind of let them know how, or the steps, how to reach you, that kind of thing. That could be in there. Another one could be perhaps there's a point from today that you wanted to draw light to that you haven't had the opportunity yet to kind of speak about. Feel free to share that as well, and anything else which comes up as being relevant to today's topic. All right, in about 2 minutes time. Okay, yes, I'll give you some time to think. Not that he needs it, he's ready to go right now. I can feel it. Give it to me, I don't want to. Give it simple. All right, so for those of you watching here, thank you. So as you know, we're here every Monday night, 6 p.m, no membership, no entry fee, no RSVP, just come. Next week, I call him the Elon of Indonesia without the fanfare, right? An incredible guy. I've been trying to get on the show. He's been on the show once, I lie actually, but just a massive entrepreneur. Indonesian, name is Rain Rinaldi. He'll be here with two guests. We're talking about smart cities and this whole technology revolution. He works also for Kadin. So he works as a banker. He wears more hats than I do and excels in pretty much all of them, and is a major force in where Indonesia is going in the future. So that's next week, and the topic is about smart cities. So feel free to attend for that. As you know me personally, Robert Ian Bonnick. So we are Carrier Life Group, which is a gateway to Indonesia. 3 award-winning brands. One is SpeakuP Monday. You've been watching this one. One is RIB and Associates, a growth strategist. So after market entry, there's business entry. That's what we do. So we help you to insert into business, not set up your company. We have associates for that. But how do you set up into business and create a long business that's profitable, that's in harmony with Tri Hita Karana? That's what we do in around 10 market sectors, specializing in 3. And tourism architect is the last one, which is about how do you help to build legacy. All right. So if these interest you, feel free to reach out to me personally, Robert Ian Bonnick, or SpeakuP Monday. You can find me pretty much everywhere. And look, so I want to thank Guzman, one-man show from Tropical Nomad tonight. Round of applause for him, please. Yeah. He's done everything. Yes. From the flyers all the way through to this. Amazing. Thank you to the audience. Intimate crowd. But again, it's about the resonance, right? It's a resonance. It doesn't matter about the number. It's a resonance. You have that, you have everything. So thank you for taking the time to come and to share yourself, your wisdom, your heat, your passion, your soul, your opinions, even though they may not align, but it's about how do we find resonance, okay? So thank you for that. My brother, you are another one of these diamonds that just shows up. I know now why Ronnie mentioned, hey Rob, you should reach out to Rob. Man, and I knew instantly actually once you reached out, as a feeling, it's like, you know what? He needs to come on. And so thank you for taking the time, right? Thank you for being you. And again, the fuel that you provide for the next generations that I've seen is formidable, brother. It's an amazing thing, my man. And I love meeting people which have the energy, the passion, the drive, the enthusiasm, and the wisdom, to also look wider and bring other people in where you feel the need to. And you have this international experience as well that you're bringing to this whole thing. It's a beautiful thing that you're doing, my man. And I take my hat to you. If we can help in any way, support, you let us know. All right.
Yes. Thank you.
Over to you, my brother.
Yeah. Thank you, Pa Robert. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for coming already here, interacting with us. Some want to collaborate. Thank you. Please do. And of course, how you can support. Our Instagram is D.E.S.A for the world, and our partners and our lifelong sponsors, Garden of Life Official. Please visit us on Instagram if you're interested to really experience Bali authentically, you can join us. We'll take you to our villages and experience meaningful work. And if you want to collaborate with us, in a business way, you have a travel agency or even if you are in a international school or school, please, we create experiential learning programs. It's very exciting. And I mean, even little things like we have tree planting programs that we plant in Tabanan. And yeah, it goes into a good cause. 30% of the tree planting goes to charity. And yeah, so yeah, it's a holistic business. If you're interested in holistic business, please join us and yeah, collaborate. Matur suksema.
Thank you, everybody. See you next week.